First, we're going to have our learning objectives. And we only have 2 objectives today. At the end of this lesson, we are going to interrupt a presentation politely. Quite interesting, right? And also, we use polite expressions in a conversation or discussion. First, there's a question. Is it okay to interrupt someone when they are speaking? Isn't it rude? Actually, in English, we can. But we have to do it in a right way, by doing it politely. So let me explain a little bit more about this. When you are listening to a lecture or a presentation or participating in a class discussion, you sometimes need to interrupt the speaker to ask a question or get clarification. We do that, it's because we need to get more understanding. So here are some polite expressions that you can use to interrupt. So it's okay to interrupt or to get the speaker's attention. Are you ready? I will be saying the expressions first and take this chance also to practice. I will say it first. Okay? All right, let's start. This one. Excuse me, I have a question. Okay, so if you can smile like that, okay, not to look like rude, okay, it's okay. The speaker can actually accept the question. I believe that. Or you can also say it differently. You can say, could I ask a question? Oh, see the word could, right? Could I ask a question? It means more polite than saying, can I ask a question? It's still okay. But when we say could, that is a model, it means we are more respectful. There's one thing I'm not sure about. You can also say, sorry to interrupt, but I have a question. You can make it softer so that you sound like you are sincere. And you can say, if you have one more question, you can say, I have another question, please. Or you can add the word please. Okay? Now, so these expressions are really important when we are trying to interrupt, so that we will sound more respectful to the speakers. Okay, but take note, sometimes when speakers have rules during their presentations, we have to check on that. Sometimes they say they have to hold the questions at the end of the presentation. So if we have that rule, make sure that do not ask the questions. But you can write down the questions. So during the time that it's okay to ask questions, you are ready to do such thing. Okay? Now, as we did on the first session, we are going to listen to information about 2 traditional musical instruments. Again, I will act as the speaker, and you can pause this video and ask for clarification as needed using polite expressions. We do this to practice your speaking ability using these expressions. And after you ask those questions, imagine that I was able to give clarification and play the video again to continue listening. So the main topics that we will be doing today is traditional musical instruments. So if you are interested in instruments, I think this will be enjoyable for you. I myself enjoy playing musical instruments. I can play the guitar. Not so good. So the first one is bagpipes. As you can see on the picture, that's what it's look like. Okay? But then again, before I start reading, our goal today is for you to interrupt me if you do not understand something. But you have to do it responsibly. It means that you will be using these polite expressions. So if you're ready, I will start reading the first one. Bagpipes. Let's do it. Bagpipes are a very old musical instrument. They have a bag that holds air. and one or more small pipes that make the notes of the music. The player blows air into the bag, and then the air comes out slowly through the pipes to make the sound. There are holes in the pipes that the player covers with his or her fingers to play different notes. Bagpipes have a long history. Musicians in ancient Rome played a similar instrument with an air bag and pipes. Today, the most famous bagpipes are in Scotland and Ireland. I know you're familiar with these countries, they're in Europe. But there are many different instruments like this in different regions of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Okay, so before we read the next one, maybe you did not understand anything, so you can pause the video later and then try to ask for clarification by using polite expressions. Okay, but you can do that later. Let's move on to the next one. Steel drum. As you can see in the picture, that is how it's look like. I am ready to read. Please take note of your questions too. Steel drums are an instrument from the island of Trinidad in the Caribbean. They are made from old steel oil barrels. The steel drum is a very old instrument. The first steel drums were made in about 1947. But musicians in Trinidad loved the sound and quickly started using them in their traditional music. The sound of steel drum is very light and happy. The drum has different sections and each one makes a different note. The player holds 2 or 3 sticks in his or her hands and uses them to hit different notes. Usually, steel drums are played by groups of musicians called a steel band. They play all kinds of music in their drums at the Carnival Festival in Trinidad every spring. So did you miss any information? Again, you can listen again to this recording and you can pause and practice asking expressions or asking questions using the polite expressions. That is how we practice our communication skills, speaking skills in this session. It's easy. Okay, well, probably it might be a little bit difficult in the beginning, okay, but as you go through it and practice more, you will get used to it. All right, so we're not gonna make it difficult today. We just want you to practice those polite expressions in interrupting. Okay, all right, so after this video, you can do it again, play it again, and practice as much as you can. But before we end the session today, let us give a little bit of summary of what you've learned. On speaking part, first, we practice the different expressions in interrupting politely. We also listen to information about musical instruments. And finally, you are doing your job in practicing using these words. So I hope you are enjoying this part and we are excited to see your progress as the course progresses. So that's all for today, and we will see you on our third session. Have a great day, everyone. See you soon.